Hello, everyone. This is the next round of our 2020 Blitz Championship. I'm happy to be able to finally bring this to you. We're doing this a little bit different. I've already played this, and I've covered the result, and we're going to analyze it after the fact. Now, I did this before where I was about to play the game, and I kind of thought, well, should I record it? And I didn't really feel like recording it while I was playing, so I recorded it a couple days later, and that recording was about 40 minutes long. And then I recorded a different video today, and I was cleaning my folder out, and I deleted it, of course. So we are re-recording it. That's the reason for the delay. This one, I'm playing against Michael Goodwin, and it's the quarterfinals. So if I win, I go on and play Ryan Santoro. I will link the bracket in the description. All right, why don't we get started? So starting with the white pieces, I got to make that choice since I'm higher rated. So we have e4, e5. And I knew Michael would play this. He always plays e5 for the most part. He occasionally will play the Sicilian, but typically loses and then voices his displeasure at having decided to play the Sicilian. So I kind of figured, when such a serious match was on the line, he's probably going to play e5, which I'm always very happy to see. So we have d4. If you watch a lot of my videos, I like playing the Max Lang attack, Scotch Gambit lines, things like that. So very happy to see this. And he makes a mistake here, just right here from the get-go. Knight takes e4. This just shouldn't be played. I'm restricting the knight's movement now by quite a bit. And he has this weak knight right here and a pretty weak pawn here next to the king. So already I'm threatening queen to d5, and we did recently play it, very recently we played a blitz game where he played bishop c5 and I played queen d5, and I won in very short order. So I don't think he studied this because his reaction was not correct. Back here, when your opponent plays a pawn break like this with d4, you got to just get rid of the pawn, right? That's why you have this pawn on e5. Defend your territory and just get rid of the pawn, unless you have some good reason not to. But that's what your default should be. So d takes e5, and he just plays d5. I'm not sure. Maybe he thought I had to en passant here, and he just didn't consider that this knight had already moved, so he's not really defending that very well. So I just nabbed this up with the bishop, and I was shocked to see this move because, of course, I'm just picking up a piece. So I like this opening for many reasons, but in addition to its traps and comfortable positions that you get as white, you're also putting a lot of pressure on your opponent, and they don't play as well very, very often. They simply do not play very well. So we have queen takes d1, and he turns up the heat. Castle's queenside. He's got pretty good development, even though I am up a piece. I play king e2. I could have done a lot of things. I could have blocked, anything like this, but I want to connect my rooks as quick as possible so that I just have, as fluid as development as I can. So we go king to e2, and, fully aware that this bishop check can happen, but I can drop back here. And he plays what I think is a pretty interesting move with knight b4. I don't know. Maybe I can go rook d1. I don't even think I considered this during the game. I'm sure rook d1 is somewhat reasonable. Bishop check, bishop back. No, it's not. I can't go rook d1 because then he takes, and then however I take, the knight comes to, well, I guess I have to take with the pawn, and then the knight comes to c2. So I do remember seeing this during the game. I think I had, knight c3. That doesn't really cut it either. I could certainly play this knight here. That might be a decent shot. Playing the knight here, stopping this, and I develop a little bit slower, but I can get rid of this and then hopefully move this knight elsewhere to get this bishop out. Maybe I just go b3. After the knight move and then fianchetto. But I played a3. and I'm not even, I don't know, I don't think this move is a mistake, but I'm not really wild about it. With the bishop check, and now I think I'm just kind of forced to move back. And then, it kind of defeats the purpose of what I was trying to do. So I'm not super wild about this move looking back on it, but he doesn't really take advantage and plays knight to a6. So now we keep it up. Always very fluid development, and, no meaningless development moves. We're always trying to pressure. So he's got to move the rook. He goes d7, and then now we go knight c3. There's no moves to pressure with the knight. We just have to get the knight out, connect the rooks, and now we're very pleased. Okay. So we have h6, and same thing here. We don't really want to automatically move back to h4 just because we're used to doing that move. Let's put the bishop on the best square possible. Apply a little bit of pressure. My opponent plays bishop c5, and I like this. This bishop has a lot of scope here, just on these very powerful diagonals. And honestly, if a knight goes there, I'm seriously debating on taking it, just because that bishop c4 check is probably happening pretty soon. So that would definitely cross my mind, I think. But he goes bishop c5, and of course we're not going to take it and allow the knight to come here, because then bishop c4 check hits a little bit harder. So we just go rook a d1. Looking back on it, I think this could have been the other rook, and that makes it a little bit easier for my king to kind of run away and hide. But okay, rook a d1 is probably fine. Rook e7 gives me the whole file. He wants to avoid trades, since he is losing by a piece. So we go knight d4. And well, now I'm honestly not really wild about this move. I've undefended my pawn, with the attempt to play f4. But yeah, so he goes bishop c4 check, bishop back, and then picks up the pawn. But I've at least gotten the bishop pair off of the board, for both sides, but we do get to do the trade, and I was up a pawn to begin with. So now I can just double my rooks and tuck my king away. So this is why I went for this. And surprisingly, the computer doesn't even actually hate it that much. Usually when I go for these like simplicity trades, it yells at me and says I'm making mistakes and blunders and all kinds of crazy stuff. But no, it just says whatever. So that's good. I like simplifying the position if I'm winning. So. King f1, which is just intended after I got my rooks activated. Now I don't really have to worry about too much, other than my time, which is down to 53, but he's at 58, so this is going to be a little bit of a barn burner for being up a piece, but, Michael's a good player. So, okay, knight f3, trades, right? Make sure this happens. And I didn't really want to take with my bishop. I wanted to hit a rook, and I wanted to hopefully be able to take with my knight, which I am able to do. He's going to take with the pawn, and okay, let's get a quick lay of the land here. I could keep going for just like these pressuring moves, but I kind of after I saw this knight here, why not, right? Why not just get rid of that knight for for the entire game, or for a good portion of the game, and just keep clamping down. So b5, c6. Hangs the pawn, but I did miss this, and I just want to refortify this pawn, and he takes all the pressure off, without having to be prompted, I guess. I suppose he was going for, or I suppose he wanted to avoid this, so he was just looking to guard the pawn. He probably saw it after he moved. So c5, I guess that makes sense, and from here, I just want to close this part of the board down. I have this open rook file. I want to be able to use that to win the game. And, well, I need a good spot for my knight. This is kind of a good square, but it interferes with what I want to do with my rooks. So, okay, he drops back with the rook, and we go bishop f4. The bishop wasn't really doing much here, so we just go f4. And now, my knight could potentially make a little bit more sense if I can get it here. Let me see. Yeah, that's probably not going to be possible. Even if I could just go here from the get-go, that's just a bit annoying having to give up 2 pieces for a rook. So probably not anytime soon. And he goes knight to d7 anyway, so I'm happy about having the bishop on a better square. And this knight's just going to have to wait. It'd be nice to bring it out and somehow get it on, like f5 with this bishop. But as soon as I go here, it's just going to get forked on g5. So yeah, if I had enough time on my clock, right, just like I have all the time in the world to analyze this, dropping the bishop back here in this position would have been very, very smart, I think. And then coming here with the knight, I go knight h4, probably he plays this, and then creates some other weaknesses, here. And on f6, just it's a very small weakness. But we go rook e1. I don't really hate this move either. I mean, it forces a trade of rooks, and I mean he does have this battery here. So let's take some of the sting out. Continue trading. We didn't have to respond to that, and we still don't have to respond to it. He can't take my bishop because I take the rook. If he takes my rook, I drop back. He just goes king d8, and yeah, man, I was playing well today. I just, I mean, with no time on my clock, I don't even think I really hesitated to play that move. I played some Blitz today, and just recently. I don't know. I haven't really played well since this match. So, but I'm definitely pretty happy with my play here so far. So okay, nothing really much to talk about here. After we, after going up the piece and getting all of the trades that I wanted, and then even playing bishop c7 check, he could have, I guess, gone to e8, but this doesn't change, really much at all. This rook is still going to get traded. He's still down a piece, and with really nothing to show for it, he has no compensation whatsoever. So now I'm just up a rook. So why not just get rid of his only active piece, only even potentially active piece, because it's his only piece, and then we can pick up a pawn as well. Get my knight to a very solid position. It's guarded. It's guarding a weakness. It's guarding a very accessible weakness. And then we just get our king in the game. King d2. We don't want this guy. We don't need him going over there. So we'll just stop that. He's going to run out of moves eventually, right? Even if he goes here, we're gonna stop him, and this king is forced to do nothing else but go backwards. So that's the reason for king d2. And this is just stopping him from going here. Nah, he could go here, but then I can go here and force him back. So yeah, I don't think there's okay. I just had to. I was looking at if he does go here, the knight. Both of these squares are covered. The knight covers f5. Yeah, I'd have to be careful. I wouldn't want to play any like f4 stuff if my king was here. That's very nearly stalemate. It would be stalemate if not for the pawn. Yeah, so I go f4. I go f4 here, and h4. Okay, I mean, yeah, he's awfully close to being stalemated. I didn't see this when I was playing the game. I didn't even consider it. I just kept the pawn moving, pushing baby. And then okay, I have to respond to that. And then he drops back very wisely. And then here I can just I can sack a pawn just to get my king here, and then that pawn will be unstoppable. So he sees this, but by this time it's already very, very, very much over. So first game is in the bag. We do take it, and on to the next game here. Switching sides, so we do have the black pieces, and again, pretty much what I was expecting. There wasn't a whole lot of mystery with him. He's, for the most part, only played e4. And for the most part has, when I looked in the past, he's had poor responses against the Khan. But, he responds well today, and, bishop d3 just guards the pawn. Perfectly reasonable, and I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to work to get an advantage in the opening here. It looks like. So, okay, so I've made a lot of weird moves here, and if you haven't watched my videos in the past, basically, what I want to do with the Khan is I've played e6 to get this dark squared bishop activated. A lot of people aren't used to playing against the Sicilian, where the dark squared bishop is playing a very active role like this. So I want to activate the dark squared bishop here so that I can play knight f6 and just snap off the e4 pawn. It sounds simple enough, but I do have to take great preparation to do this. You know, I want my queen here to prepare the knight so that there's no e-pawn push. He can't do it here, but he can do it later. After the knight's here, I don't have a queen a5 check that scoops up the pawn. So I need the queen here so that I can put the knight there. And to put the queen here, I need this pawn here so that the queen doesn't get hit. So that's the reason for all of these moves. You know, I could go knight c6 to, you know, to guard e5, but I mean the knight takes, and then we get into something totally different that it's pretty good for black, but you know, frankly, I just like to I want the positions that I'm comfortable with, so I'm gonna stick with those. So okay, knight f6, bishop g5, and my favorite thing to do. This is why I play the con. It really helps that there's a lot of tricky ways that I can win material in the opening if my opponent doesn't do their homework. But I play the con because if my opponent plays well, I really like the positions that result from it. Just bishop e7, and I play d6, and I just transpose into a Najdorf. And it's a Najdorf where my opponent is pretty much locked into castling kingside. They could castle queenside from here, but it's very, very awkward with the placement of this bishop. So we do have kingside castle, pawn to d6, and you know, here we go. We'll throw a quick punch at this bishop. It's nice to do this before we castle, because if we do it after castling, then they could take the pawn, which is usually not good, but in a blitz game where he has this move, you know, sort of looming, I'm not going to deal with that. So we're going to throw the punch at it right now, and instead of moving back, he just takes it, which is a little bit of a surprise. The knight's hit, so he wisely gets out of my center. And then, okay, we continue developing. I develop here because I like the prospects. You know, playing b5, knight b6, knight c4. c5 and e5 are also good prospects. If I move my knight to c6, going out to a5 is it can be dangerous sometimes. So it's you know, I'd rather have these squares here, 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 and here available to me. Where if I go c6, I mean, these two squares I just don't care about. So going c6 doesn't really get me anything over going d7. And then if I need to leave my knight here for whatever reason, I mean, this bishop I'm planning to fianchetto, so c6 just gets in the way of the bishop and the queen. Okay, so knight g3. This gets a little weird. You know, h5 could come. I play b5 and ignore it. I'm not really sure what my plan was. If he was going to go here, I don't remember. Probably ignore it, I think. That's my guess. Probably ignore it and castle. I don't remember. It looks good to me. It looks reasonable enough. If you're wondering why I'm not taking here, it's because I like bishops. I have a bishop pair, and you know, this is the valuable bishop because it's the one that he doesn't have. So yeah, knight h5. I guess it's not. Okay, so after b5, yeah, I mean, I wonder what the computer says about this. It actually says bishop e5. I thought about g5, but I didn't like f4. And I guess it sees queen c5. Oh, I just figured that. What is... I don't know why this is +3 for black. Oh! Oh, that's a good one. All right, we're going to file that away. That's a good one. So that's... Yeah, so that's what I was planning on doing. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Rook fd1. Okay. And then I go g6, you know, like a Potzer. I wish I would have known I could have just castled and then played bishop e5. That's insane. That's totally insane. Okay. Very, very creative way to... You know, I mean, if you give me like that position as a puzzle, you know, okay, no big deal. Queen c, I mean, queen c5, and that's pretty easy to see. But you know, when you're trying to preserve this bishop, that's just not necessarily the first thing that you're looking at. Okay, so we play g4 like a Potzer, and I know, I mean, here I can push and go after this pawn, but ridiculous. Let's, you know, I just want to make my position better. Okay, bishop f1. Unfortunately, have to come back and guard the pawn. I think it gave some weird line. I guess it's a thing that I can do. I mean, do I really take this and give up this? Here, and do I go bishop e5 again? I mean, this is hanging. I don't know why the computer recommends this. Yeah, so I mean, I just wouldn't play this in a million years. So I mean, chess is hard sometimes. Whoops, we're trying to go here. Yeah, chess is hard sometimes. I very rarely do I consider playing b4 in the con. I mean, if I was castled and my king was on h7 so that I didn't have to worry about this, yeah, I'd probably play b4 without too much thought and give up my pawn here. But I don't like doing it with my king in the center. That's very sketchy. So bishop e7, okay, a3. That's pretty wise. Well, no, because my bishop's not here anymore, so never mind. So that's just pretty unnecessary. So okay, so we just continue development. f3 is totally unnecessary. But okay, knight e5, and you know we want to go here, like we had talked about. So he doesn't let me, but okay, we go rook d8. We don't go here. We don't go rook c8 because people see this, right? I mean, this isn't. no one's gonna miss this. Now you know what though. Okay, yeah. So he would just have to see that he can't move the knight. He has to go here. Yeah, because if he moves the knight, he loses the c pawn. He just has to go there. Not a big deal. So I want rook here because I want to move my bishop here. I want to be able to move this knight with some tempo so that I can take this and hit this and this. That's a little bit harder to see. If he doesn't see it, I have some forcing options against whatever mistake he does. Turns out he does see it. He moves the knight straight away. Now this is probably not the correct response, but he does at least see it. Moves the knight straight away, bishop f6, and then has to move the rook. And this is what I was talking about. He's had to make some pretty big concessions because instead of moving the rook to c8, we went to d8 and reactivated our bishop to a much better square. So, okay, now we have queen c5 check, king h1, and we just pick up a pawn. Looking at this again, I do really like the idea of d5, but in a blitz game, I'm still really nervous about having my king in the center, and maybe to my detriment. We'll just pick up the pawn and I have everything defended. So this is my favorite. We had a game like this a while ago. Maybe I'll show it. Yeah, I'll show it. This is too good. And then I play bishop g5 and trap the queen, which looks like one of the just funniest queen traps you've ever seen. But I think we've had a better one in the past, so hopefully I can find it in a reasonable amount of time. And I made a mistake here. For some reason, after he played this, I thought that he was vacating the square for his queen. So if I went back, then he would go. So I took the rook, again, like a potser. I should just move my queen back because this still cannot escape. But anyway, ridiculous. Okay, so rook c8, reactivate this. We can delegate the king now to guarding this. This rook can't be very happy about being on a2. And now we'll just slowly make our position better. This is maybe a bit of like a hope chess move. But to be quite honest, I didn't like my knight on that square. It's okay. It's just I'm not really pressuring anything that I care about. I mean, all of these, what do I want here? It's just, I'm not really pressuring anything that matters. Let me see. If I play here, I am defending this from pushing, but, I'm never really threatening to take it. So I wanted to move my knight so that I could, push here and get rid of this knight, with the added perk that if he just simply does nothing like he did, then I can push here and I can win one of the knights no matter what. So that's the idea. I want him to move the knight so that I can then come here, and then I can try to decide where my knight's going to go. And when it was back here, I can't really go here, unfortunately, but whatever. So that's the idea, and he just misses it. He's down to pretty low on time, and we take the 2-0 victory. So potentially just one more game. Okay, I get the white pieces again, and we get the same thing. We get a max-ling attack again. We get this very early pawn break. He takes d4, castles, and then he goes knight takes e4 this time. So he's got his, he's quelled the pawn break, and he's up 2 pawns, but he's opened up his king. So he plays the correct move d5, and if you're going to play this Scotch Gambit line, it's transposed now into a Scotch Gambit. If you are going to play this, you have to know this maneuver where you're exploiting a couple of pins. Neither one of these pieces can move, and then okay, he plays one of the correct moves, queen h5, basically get your queen the hell out of there, and then knight takes e4. Okay, we were threatening some discovered nonsense, so bishop to e6 makes sense. Develop the piece, he's preparing castling. So we develop and we stop him from castling. Nothing extremely complicated so far. Bishop e7, and okay, we chop it off. And once again, we get to a position where, just like in the Khan, where yes, there's all kinds of spots for your opponent to go wrong. But I play this position, at this opening because, okay, there's 1,001 traps in it, which is just hilarious. But also because when you get positions like this, when your opponent's played reasonably well, I love this position. This position is perfect for me. I mean, you'll notice I have 2 inaccuracies in this game. I mean, I just really killed it because this is a very comfortable position for me. So, okay, he sees this, and I mean, good lord. How can I place my pieces any better than this? I mean, this is just absurd. Okay, so he castles, and we don't take this right away because there's a weakness behind it, so we go knight c5. Probably knight g5 puts, I think, more accurate pressure on it, because after I take this, then I can go to f7. Pretty attractive. But we go knight c5. Fine. Rook d6. We take with this knight because I want to take here. He exchanges, fine. And then we go up a pawn. And I don't know, maybe he was flustered, but he hangs another pawn. I mean, so at this point, it's pretty much in the bag. I'm up 2 pawns. One of them's a connected passer, and he has nothing really to show for it. As long as I'm not hanging a pawn to something like this, but I always have c3, and then if he takes, the knight is trapped. So knight f5. And then, okay, just a very simple endgame. I play knight e3, just like I did in the first game, actually. Solid square for the knight, defends this. It's adequately defended, and it shuts down this entire file, and I own this one. So, pawn to b6. Can't really do anything about this weakness, but we can play f4. We gotta get our passed pawns moving. And, well, it helps my king get get into the game as well. The knight has c2 covered. And then now he goes knight b4, which is fine. Okay, we'll just play c3. And I missed this. I missed that he can actually take, and okay, I can trap it, but he can defend. So, well, wait a second. Yeah. Well, that's kind of funny, though. Yeah, he does. He is okay. Oh, come on. Yeah, I was looking at this. Probably back here. Ah! What's the computer think? I didn't see that during the game. F5. Yes, just ignore everything. All right. What if I go hunting though? F5. All right. What do we think about this? Yeah, Rook A4. Well, okay. I looked at this. Well, hold on. Let me just make sure. Rook A6. Yeah, Knight A3, and we're having some fun. Nice. Yeah, I looked at this. Ah, yes, because then Knight A3 does not work. And then we go F5. Okay. So, all right. So I'm not really winning the piece, but okay. He trusted me, I guess. Don't ever trust me. I make far too many mistakes. Okay. F5, rook c6. You know, I can go for this stupid nonsense, but that hangs a pawn. And okay, I mean, this wouldn't be so bad because it, you know, it does keep the knight out. So positionally, it makes some sense. But okay, I don't want to hang the pawn. Push him, baby. We got to get our advantage moving. Okay, the king's got to move with it. And rook d2, right? I mean, we just moved the king forward. We didn't move it to g3. We're not going to waste any time moving it to g3. Just go rook d2 and guard the pawn here. Not a big deal that he checks us. It moves us closer to our destination. Knight d7, you know, whatever. I could probably take the knight and still win. But we won't do that. Knight d5. Got to push f6. Got to keep the majority rolling. And we push f6. You know, there's no checks or you know, decent shenanigans that he has to stop me. If he goes here, you know, fine. There's no rook check then because of the knight. Reasonable enough move with king d7, and we just keep him going. Yeah, I never have this because of the knight check. He can just do it whenever. Although, if he tried to trick me... Oh, not that. I could promote to a knight. I am still winning. Okay. There's probably a better move, though. Okay, let's actually take a look at this. So I could have played f7 here. And I didn't because of this check. Knight d3 check. I guess he can do that. That just, for some reason, looks worse. He can play b5, it says. Yeah, but then I would just promote to a knight. Is that terrible? I guess it's terrible. Why is that terrible? b4? What's going on here? I would never play this in a million years. I want to move this knight at some point. Knight e6 check. King e5. Fine. I mean, I guess I can force this to get promoted. I don't know. Okay. I'm surprised promoting to the knight isn't stronger, but okay. Okay, anyway, we have g5. Get the knight check. And we go here. You know, I mean, we're really... You know, looking at this, if I go here, I'm not... You know, not only is there a check here, but even if we can somehow justify this, I can't push the pawn. So I need this pawn as well, so we go king g4. And then for some reason he plays knight takes g5, so I mean that's just a freebie. Rook f3, and now we can make things a lot easier. We're just coming over here. A free pawn, I guess. And then we get a nice little Vukovic mate at the end, which certainly was a treat. I think I played that pretty quickly too. Yeah, I mean that's just that's just an elementary mate. And I think I saw it. Let's see, when would I have seen it? I would have taken this pawn here, and I would have seen it here. So that was why I played rook to d7. I wonder, is there a quicker mate? Rook d7. Yeah, king g8, and there's some knight e6 stuff. That makes some sense. Actually, why is this so quick? King g8, knight e6, h. Let's just go h5. What's the form here? Knight d8. Yeah, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so we're not really doing it with checks like I had thought. I didn't see anything with checks. So yeah, here, and then allows us to go to e6 with check, which is always appreciated. And then I guess if here we go f6. That's a nice one. Yeah, that's a nice twist on an old classic. An Arabian mate with the pawn restricting the king's movement. So a lot of potential mates there in the corner. So don't even need to promote the pawn, and just a very solid performance. I'm really happy with it. It was the first one that I didn't record live, and okay, you know, I mean, it worked out well. I had to make sure that I was focused for this one. You know, playing Blitz and commentating and recording at the same time is really something else. So yeah. So the next one, The next match should go up pretty soon. I've already played it, so no spoilers there. So I'm going to record my my analysis over that match, and that should be going up soon, where I'm playing Ryan Santoro. So, if you're a random person on YouTube, these names mean nothing to you, but if you play in our league, then you know who these people are. So, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.